Hi, I am M. Jagadish, Associate Professor in CSC Department. In this session, we are just going to discuss about polymorphism. Polymorphism is nothing much one of the object-oriented programming concepts. Poly means many, morphism means actions. That indicates we are going to perform multiple actions on or by using of a single name. Now, what actually and how we are going to perform multiple actions by means of a single name we discuss here. See, look at this one. We're just going to take one example that is nothing but plus operator here. Now, basically, plus operator is used to perform the addition of two values. And here, look at this. Those two values may be in the first case integers. So it can perform, the plus operator can perform integer addition. And in the second case, those two values may be related to the floating point values or decimal values. Then it can perform floating point addition. And take the third case. Those two values may be the strings. So the plus operator is going to perform the string concatenation. So look at this. The same plus operator is going to perform multiple actions. That what actually polymorphism means. One name, multiple actions. So how it is going to implement means, before going to discuss about that one, look at the types of polymorphism. Basically, the polymorphism is of two types. The first one is nothing but compile time polymorphism, and second one is nothing but runtime polymorphism. The compile time polymorphism is also called as static binding or static linking or early binding. And runtime polymorphism is also called as late binding or dynamic binding. Now, look at the compile time polymorphism first. Compile time polymorphism means in the compile time polymorphism, the entire information is known before going to execute the program. That indicates while the program is compiling, at the time of program compilation, then it comes to know which function is going to execute. Then we can call that is nothing much compile time polymorphism. The best example is nothing much function overloading and operator overloading, which are used to achieve compile time polymorphism. And similarly, come to the runtime polymorphism. In the runtime polymorphism, it is not known until the program is going to execute at runtime. That is, the information is not known what actually the function is going to execute until the program is going to execute at runtime. At the time of execution, then it is going to select only one program among two or more programs with the same name to execute. That is nothing but runtime polymorphism. To achieve runtime polymorphism, here we are using virtual function. This what actually polymorphism types are. Then look at this particular simple example. Now we just go to perform the polymorphism. Now look at this example clearly. First, as usual, header file iostream.h, then function float area of int, then function int area of int comma int. Observe here the name of function is appearing two times. Area. One is with one parameter and return type is floats, and one more is with two parameters and return type int. But the name of the function is same. Now come to the function void main. Here I am declaring the variables or LB of integer data type. Then cout, enter the values of R, L, and B. Throw cin, enter the values for R, L, and B. Then come to the next statement, cout, area of circle is. Then it is going to call area of R. Area of R means there are two functions with the name area. Then which function it has to execute. Similarly, come to the next one, cout area of rectangle is area of L comma B. Again, I am going to execute the area function. Here also I am in the previous statement also I am executing area function. The name of the function is same, but the difference is in number of parameters. So based on the type of parameter and the number of parameters, it is going to execute only one. Now come to the first one here. Here I just go to specify only one parameter, float area of int a. So here when I just go to specify only one parameter, this function is going to execute. Return 3.14 into a. This function will execute for the first statement. Then come to the next one, int area of int a comma int b. So when I just go to pass two parameters along with the function area, then this function is going to execute, and it executes the statements return a into b. So this is the way how we can achieve compile time polymorphism by means of function overloading. This is what actually function overloading means. The function overloading can be achieved by means of compile time polymorphism, which indicates that before execution itself, it comes to know which function is executed for which call. So likewise, we just go to implement the function overloading and come to the next one. There's a problem with function overloading, that is nothing but ambiguity. Now, what is that ambiguity means? What happens if the data type or the values that we are passed to a function are same? Now look at this. Take the one example where I am specifying void area int comma int, void area float comma int. Now come to the function, main area of 10 comma 10, area of 10.0 comma 10. It indicates for the second statement there is an ambiguous which function it has to execute. Why? Because means I am passing 10.0, that is nothing but the 10. It is an integer value. So there will be an ambiguous. For the first function, I'm just passing 10 comma 10. There is no unambiguous. There is nothing about. It is going to execute the first statement area of int comma int. And whenever the ambiguous comes into the picture, then there is a problem. Which function it has to execute among the two functions. And similarly, some cases the functions cannot be overloaded whenever it has the following statements like this: void f of int x, void f of int ampersand x. Ampersand means address. In this, these functions cannot be overloaded because one takes the address reference and other takes the normal parameter, which we can call as the call by value or call by reference. These type of functions cannot be overloaded. So this is the problem with function overloading. Now, figure this, how we just go to done that problem by means of function overriding. Observe clearly here, I just go to specify one thing, that is nothing but function overriding without using virtual function. Practically, to avoid ambiguity, like earlier, we have to use virtual function. When we are using virtual function, we can call it is nothing but function overriding. Now, observe in this, here in this function overriding, I am not using any virtual function. If I am not using any virtual function, how it will reflect? Observe clearly. Now we just go to define a class without any virtual function. Class B. In this class, in the public section, I am defining a function show, void show. In this, I simply specify a statement cout. I am in base show. Then close the function, close the class. Thereby class terminates. Come to the next one. Now I am deriving a new class. That is nothing but class D in public mode from class B. That indicates I am deriving a new class D from B in the public mode. Come to the next one. In the public section, I am specifying a function void show. Now in this, I just go to specify a cout statement cout. I am in derived show. Then close function, close class. So now observe here, there is a function with the name show in both base class and a derived class. That indicates when we are deriving a new class in public mode, then definitely whatever the function that is there in B will also be available in derived class. That indicates here now show will reflect in with 2 times. Come to the next one, main function, void main. Now I am creating the object for the base class. Then one pointer object, pointer BP, and I am creating one object D for the derived class, capital D. Now BP is equal to address of B. Why? Because means BP is a pointer. So when there is a pointer, then definitely we must assign the address of another object. Now here I am assigning the address of base class. So BP arrow show. When I am specifying BP arrow show, BP is the object for the base class, and that too I am allocating the address of base object. So BP arrow show will make you to execute the base class show function. The base class show function means it is going to execute this function, which is going to display I am in base show statement on the output screen. Now look at this. Come to the next statement. BP is equal to address D. BP is equal to address D means BP is the pointer object. Now it is going to assign the address of derived objects. Again, BP arrow show. BP arrow show, actually it is going to point to show, but instead of pointing to the show which is in derived class, again it is going to point to the show which is in base class. So again it is execute the show function in the base class, again which is going to display I am in base show statement on the output screen. Look at this. For the 2 times we are going to specify the same execution. We are going to execute the same function for 2 times because of the absence of virtual function. Because of the absence of virtual function, we are not able to execute the function which is in derived class. This is the function overriding without using of virtual function.